Hallo Leute, willkommen zu einer Folge von Doki Doki Blue Skies Mod. In der letzten Folge hatten wir relativ vieles. Also wir haben endlich die Wahrheit rausgefunden über die Situation der Eltern von Yuri, sowie auch Dings gesehen, dass Yuri sich selbst verletzt. Halt die zwei Sachen, wo wir schon lange vermutet haben, beziehungsweise seit ein paar Folgen. Und ja, es hat damit geendet, dass jeweils die beiden, also halt Hauptcharakter und Yuri eben, geheult haben und zusammen jetzt im gleichen Bett geschlafen haben und sich ausgeruht haben, hoffentlich. Und mehr dazu sehen wir eben jetzt halt, weil wir direkt am morgigen Tag dann sind. Von diesem eventvollen Abend, sag ich mal einfach. Aber ja, ich würde sagen, wir verlieren nicht viel Zeit und legen los. As I'm slowly roused back into consciousness, I let all along yawn, watching the faint streams of sunlight permeate my room. I'm still feeling a little drowsy, so I should just... Wait, why does my chest feel so warm? As my eyes take in the sight in front of me, the memories from last night come flooding back. The cuts, the fear on her face, the please stay with me overnight. One of her sleeve has pushed out slightly, affording me sight I rather didn't have access to. Seeing such marks in Yuri's pale arm. So much which still look fairly new. I wince as though it's my own flesh which bears the scars. Why? How? So many questions. A small sound from you pulls me away from the flurry of thoughts in my head. Sounds like a content sigh. If I look close, I can make out a small smile on her face as she clings to me a little harder. A wave of happiness courses through me, which, having seen her scars again, feels a little foreign. Still, it feels incredible to have someone you love cuddle up against you in their sleep. Something about the physical closeness during such an intimate moment. Das ist wahr. I reach out gently stroke the top of her head. She smells faintly of lavender, her hair soft and silken. It's given that someone like Yuri takes care of herself, I suppose, with no parents around. Is that when she started? No, I don't want this moment ruined by anything. We can talk about all of that stuff later. I just want to see her happy. So for now, I just focus on the smell and softness of her hair, along with the feel of her head on my chest. I don't know how long we stayed in a peaceful embrace, but eventually Yuri stirs, offering me a smile she rises from my chest. Rubbing her eyes as she slowly sits up, she lets out a small yawn. There's silence for a moment. You were up before I was? Yeah, hard to believe, right? Don't worry, I find it just as hard to believe as you do. My attempt at humor is weak. Yuri laughs as well, but it's easy to tell it's a little forced. There's no denying the tension. The life in the room may have been averted while we were sleeping, but there's no escape now. So, Yuri, I was wondering. She abruptly gets out of bed and heads for the door, without a glance back in the direction she speaks. Her assertive tone surprises me. Let's make breakfast, Kazuma. But, please? She turns to face me, and while she isn't making eye contact, I can read the message on her face. Not yet. Barely, I climb out of bed and follow her down the hallway, wondering how the rest of the day will go. Ich nehme mal an, wir sind Wochenende, weil es ist keine Erwähnung von Schule oder irgendwas. So, das heißt, es ist wahrscheinlich Wochenende, was gut ist, weil es ja natürlich jetzt scheiße, wenn wir mit diesem Gewicht halt in die Schule müssen gehen. The said breakfast wasn't a comfortable affair would be quite the understatement. Yuri wasn't making eye contact and even stopped frequently to ensure her sleeves were completely covering her wrists. Every time she picked up a knife to cut some food, I couldn't help but wince, but it was doing me no favors. Has she cut herself with a knife? I said she used a razor blade. Does she have a stash of them at home? Or is her cutting habit related to her knife collecting hobby? The tension has grown tenfold since she woke up. I'm desperately trying to think of a way to break the uneasy silence, but I can't come up with anything. Diplomacy can only get me so far. How am I meant to even approach the topic? I never had a friend who self-harm before. I stand the last remaining crumbs of my meal. Eating in silence has proven to be unbelievably awkward. Desperate for something to do, I stand up and head for the sink. At least the prospect of washing up my plate gives me something to focus on. As I stand by the sink, Yuri's voice pierces the silence. I'm really sorry. For what? She gestures around her. For everything. I dump the unwashed plate in the sink and walk over to her. She's staring fondly at the ground. You don't have to apologize for anything, seriously. Am I the only person who knows? Yes. Then, well, sorry I was some presumptuous, but I imagine it must be pretty hard, right? Very much so. It's a little overwhelming. I take one of her hands in mine. She's shaking. It's okay, Yuri. It's okay. Just take your time. There's no rush. She nods. I imagine you probably have a few questions you want to ask. There's no point trying to beat around the bush here. Yeah, there are. I wouldn't say how direct that sounds. Then again, I'm really curious, so I can't exactly win either way, can I? She takes a deep breath. What would you like to know? Oh boy, where do we even begin? How long has she been an orphan for? When did she start cutting? There's so many choices. It's probably best to start with an understanding of self-harm, though. Well, why do you do it? She closes her eyes and slowly lets out breath out through her nose. She's still closing her eyes as she talks. It's a way of coping. Huh? It's how I deal with the sadness and self-loathing within. Self-loathing? People have never liked me, Kazuma. All throughout my life I've never been accepted. People never understood me, nor did they ever take the time to try to. I've never been particularly sociable. As you can see, I much prefer to keep to myself. Now that alone wouldn't be too bad. Some people mistreat the introversion, but combined with my fascination with horror and knife collecting hobby. These things combined tend to make people see me as creepy, a freak, an outcast. That quiet girl in the back who doesn't speak much, the girl who is fascinated by the macabre. It's no wonder they judge me. Anyway, so that's why. She takes a deep, shaky breaths in an attempt to calm herself down. I didn't realize how difficult this must be for you to talk about. I'm so sorry. The angry look on her face startles me. No. Did you ever apologize for my own shortcomings, Kazuma? I deserve to be weak. But you don't. Why would you even think that? Because, like I said, I was always judged who I was. Initially I thought it was everyone else who was wrong. She laughs bitterly. Oh, such arrogance. That wasn't them who were wrong. It was me. But it was just the one person who judged me such a way, well, I would be inclined to believe that the problem lied in them. But it wasn't just one person. It was everyone. There gets a point when you finally realize that it's not them who are the problem, it's you. It was bad, but I could deal with it because I at least had my parents to help me. Even I'm the first person who knows of her self-harm, that does mean... As if by reading my mind you answers this very question. No, not even my parents knew. And that's when it began. I hated keeping my self-harm from them. I didn't want them to know. It scared me enough as it was. And I couldn't imagine how much it would scare them. I was terrified when I first tried it. I remember the day it started. Some other students mocked me relentlessly because I started doing a class reading. I was used to dread reading out loud. I remember at lunchtime. I locked myself in one of the bathroom stalls. I didn't mean to cut myself, I just wanted to admire one of my knives. That being a constant reminder of what's wrong with me, just holding something so dear to me was comforting. I gripped it too hard and that's when I discovered it. The rush that felt like the perfect release. It was tangible. But it was also terrifying. It felt so good having that physical release. But I was in shock. I couldn't believe what I had done. I felt like such a freak. I don't know what to say. Words are beyond me at this point. How am I even meant to reply to what I'm hearing? My parents were the only people who ever accepted me for who I was. Even though they didn't know about the self-harm, they never judged me for my taste in literature, nor did they catch my interest in knives. Well, while school was a torment, I've sought solace in knowing that no matter how bad it would get, I was safe at home. Lass mich rein, jetzt kommt der Teil, wo ihre Eltern gestorben sind. Fresh tears started to trickle down her face once more. Until they died. Just like that, I had lost them, the only support I ever had. I reach out to brush Yumi's tears. She doesn't move or do anything else to acknowledge that I'm even there. But her heart-wrenching explanation, you had been trying to maintain control over her face and voice. A stuttering and pain expressions that occasionally flickered over her features showed all I needed to know. I scoop her into my arms, the dam that she's been trying so hard to contain finally bursts. She sobs unresentfully into my chest as her anguished cries fill the room. I missed him so much, Kazuma. My vision is blurry as she stands to the front of my shirt. I can physically feel her cries in my chest, right next to my heart. I want to see them again. I want to stop pretending that the person I'm in the arms of right now is my dad. This is everything. I'd give to hear them ask me how my name was, even if it wasn't awful. anything at all. Please. The brain is a frenzy. Say something, Kazuma. Yui, it's going to be okay. You're not alone anymore. I'm here, with you. And I'm never going to leave you. I promise. She looks up with big wet purple eyes. You really mean that? Because I don't know what I'd do if you're lost here as well, Kazuma. Of course I mean it. I swear on it. You're my girlfriend and I love you. Even after everything I just told you. She gestures miserably to her wrist. Even with these? The venomous disdain in her voice is frightening to hear. I wasn't even sure she was careful of such scorn. Negativity. I love you for who you are, Yui. You shoots everything you hate about yourself. Scars or not, you're my girlfriend and nothing is going to change that. Oh, Kazuma. A strange look comes over her face while her breathing goes raging and fast-paced. Yui? Are you okay? So I just... This is just so much to take in. Her hand suddenly darts to her wrist. And in that instant, I suddenly realize the situation we're in. Yui, stay with me. Please. I can't. Yes, you can. Focus on my voice. Look at me. Oh no. I'll do my absolute best not to descend another state of panic for both our sakes. I can't let her start cutting again. He's gently scratching at the flesh of her wrist. It starts off slow, but quickly gains a focus and intensity. In desperation, I reach for her hand. You just talk to me. Say something, anything. What's going on in your mind? I'm not sure if asking her to describe the urge is going to help. It could actually be harmful. But I'm finding it hard to think straight. And the tiny voice of reason in my hand is telling me that distracting her and forcing her to talk to me is the right thing to do. I need a release. Whenever I feel like this, She tries to wrench her hand free from my grip, but there's no way she's getting free. I'll tell Tab so that she has to make eye contact with me. My body needs the pain. I need to control. The cutting helps me make sense of everything. Sense of everything? Shoulders and eyes focus on mine. Physical pain is something tangible I can actually feel, something I can make sense of. And I feel emotionally overwhelmed, I feel so powerless. Counting helps me regain that control I desperately need. And it sounds I know it sounds crazy, but it helps me feel alive. I'm so mentally overwhelmed, numbness, it's without mercy. So I need something to focus on. That's exactly what the pain serves as. But why do I have to use a blade? Can you just, I don't know, pinch yourself or scratch? You have no idea what the urge is like, Kazuma. My whole body screams for that release. Scratching or pinching it would never satisfy that urge. Yui's breathing slowly grows more regular. She's no longer trying to wrench her head free from my grasp, so I tentatively let her go, although I remain close, anticipating another attempt. I've never been in a position where I have the urge to cut when I'm around someone else. Do you still feel the need to cut? Yes, but it's a lot more manageable now. I think I'll be okay. My God, am I relieved to hear that. I had no idea how to deal with this. I told you I was a freak. You're not a freak. I've just been through a lot, and cutting happens to be how you deal with trauma. It's hardly healthy coping mechanism. Healthy coping mechanism, though, is it? Well, no, it isn't. It doesn't even need to be said. Okay, so yeah, it isn't a healthy way to cope at all, but either way, I'm just glad you told me. Are you glad, Kazuma? And more importantly, how can you not think I'm a freak? I don't know. I don't know, but when I see this as freakish, I don't see this as freakish behavior at all. It makes me sad, sure, but it doesn't creep me out. Plus, I like to think I have an open mind, you know? My Nase läuft voll Hilfe. Yui smiles ruefully at my words. You remind me a little of my father. He was the one who introduced me to noise back when I was just a little girl. As eager as was to learn about herself, I'm grateful that this is an opportunity to discuss something else. The incident just now was just staggering. What were your parents like? Oh, they were wonderful. I couldn't have asked for better. You never told me about how you first got into her. It's a guess, but wasn't it your parents who introduced you to the genre? After everything that's happened so far today, the genuine smile on her face truly is a sight to behold. How did you know? I'm psychic. Kidding, I'm just very intuitive. I just had an idea. Why don't you tell me about the more about a nice cup of tea? I don't know about you, but I'm definitely in the mood for a hot drink. I'd like that a lot. Awesome, let's get started then. I was hoping the change of topic combined with a relaxing tea has really helped to bring a sense of normality to the day. Of course, the after effects of the morning still linger there. Yuri is still on edge, but we're at least able to work around it. Funny enough, the beginning to her actually stemmed completely from chance. What do you mean? Well, one day both my parents were out. It was a rainy day, so I couldn't go outside. Naturally, I was confined into the house. I was wandering around looking for something new to eat. I happened to find a copy of a whole ghost story that my father left out and immediately began reading. Given that it was a book for adults, I didn't really understand what was going on, but I was able to get the general gist. When my dad came back, my dad was really surprised to see me reading it. Clearly didn't expect that I'd like it. I remember how my mother scolded him for being so careless. She didn't like the idea of her young daughter reading such a dark tale. I remembered he pretended to be apologetic, but when she was out of the chat, he eagerly asked me what he made of the story so far. It was obvious that I didn't really understand it, so he offered to read it with me, helping me out with the more complex one and explaining the story as it progressed. What was the story about? Must be pretty good if you remember it so well. I see. It was an old Victorian tale about a young governess who was sent to look after family's young child at their summer home. And there it is, that passionate fire in her eyes, the kind of fervor only seen when Yuri talks about the interest she holds dear to her. How someone could ever shame someone for such a passion? It sickens me how cool people can be. She begins to see figures of a man and woman around the house, but the servants of the house deny seeing such figures. Then the governess learns that her predecessor used to have a relationship with another employee, and before these two died, they spent much time with the children. Given that these figures seem to come and go at will, and haven't been seen by the other employees, she quickly suspects that they are supernatural nature. I can't remember the ending, but what I'll never forget is the clever writing. We as readers are never given any concrete answers as if those figures are real, or merely a figment of her imagination. Was the governess just hallucinating, or did the ghosts of these people really prowl about the house? Sounds to me like she's just imagining it, to be honest. Although it does seem kinda coincidental how the ghosts seem to perfectly match the profile of President and her lover. Indeed, but more as the young boy was revealed to have been expelled, and it's heavily hinted that what he did to earn such a punishment was terrible in nature. Such a suspicious outlook, it's natural that the reader adopts the children's claim of innocence, especially when the governess asks if they saw the two figures. Ghostly apparitions, creepy suspicious children. I think the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Geesh, even from Yuri's description, the plot sounds exceptionally gripping. There's really no tone in Yuri's voice as she speaks. I remember, my father encouraged me to question whether the ghosts were real. As a child, I took things at face value. The government said he saw them, so that was what I believed. But he taught me how to approach things from another angle, how to consider other viewpoints, and how it helped me broaden my appreciation for such clever writing. And to this day, I still wonder if the ghosts were real. So, an analytical approach came from your dad? I suppose you could say that, yes. He was always metaphorical, organized in nature, so it was given that his personality rubbed off on me. Sorry, I think he would be really proud of you, Yuri. If you could see you now. Tears slowly leaked down her face once more. Would he? I hid so much from him. I put her close to me, tenderly caressing her cheeks with my hands. We all have our demons, Yuri. Everyone has things they regret, and things they don't want other people to know. Compare with other people if they judge you for the things you like or your quiet nature. Because I love your characteristics. Even if you hate them, I love them. They make you who you are. If you enjoy horror, if you enjoy collecting elves, who has any right to shame you for it? Oi! Fuck them, they don't know any better. She gives me a watery smile. Thank you, Kazuma. You really do mean so much to me. I'm so glad that we met. Having someone like you in my life is... I can't describe it in words. Wowie, must be tough then if you even can't describe it. He makes a sound that sounds like a mix of laugh and a sob. Hey, Yui? Yes, Kazuma? If you don't mind me asking, when did your parents, It's okay, you don't have to answer. Last February. It was a car crash. Wait, I'm so sorry. It's probably intended of me to even ask. It wasn't. I've been keeping a lot of things from you, so it's only fair that I should stop doing that. After all, you're my boyfriend now. Still feels a little strange to say that. Not in a bad way though. It is exactly the same. I feel exactly the same, you know. I still find it hard to believe that such a beautiful, intelligent girl fell for me. I must be the luckiest guy on the planet. Don't be silly, Kazuma. You have such a big heart. Any girl would be lucky to have you. To be honest, I'm surprised that you and ZOWIE and I? Well, yes. Given you were childhood friends, I imagine you would have gotten together with her after seeing her again. She have been a much better girlfriend too. Also, ZOWIE wäre eine gute Freundin im Sinn, ich lache nicht im Sinn, dass ZOWIE eine schlechte Freundin wäre. Ich meine, nur Yuri, glaube ich, will aussagen damit, dass ZOWIE nicht so viel Probleme hatte, aber wer aus dem Original ZOWIE kennt, weiß, dass ZOWIE genauso, wenn nicht sogar eigentlich noch intensivere Probleme hat wie Yuri im Inspect, dass sie wirklich kurz vor der Klippe steht. Netsuki haben wir das Problem, dass sie mein Vater halt extremst nah immer am Tod ist. Mit Yuri einfach, dass sie auch extremst nah am Tod ist, wenn sie einmal sich so tief schneidet. Und ZOWIE haben halt das ganze Problem, dass sie überhaupt nicht nicht so leiden kann und relativ sozialen Gedanken hat und so. Und suizidale Tendenzen, weil das war das, was ich gesucht habe. Deswegen, ja. Hey, look at me. It takes a little bit of coaxing, but eventually she reluctantly makes eye contact. So you will also be a wonderful friend of mine. Yes, we have that history together, but I'm not living in the past. You and I have a special kind of connection that I can't explain. There's something about you that drew me in, all those months ago. But she's so happy, so energetic and bubbly. Außen ja, aber auch innen ist sie auch relativ kaputt, glaube ich. Wouldn't you rather have a girl like that instead of a broken, miserable mess like me? Yuri, ich glaube alle Girls haben relativ etwas gleich. Monika auch, aber mit Monika gibt es leider keine Route. Also das hat auch, ich weiß nicht, ob ich schon nochmal gesprochen habe. Eigentlich war auch eine, soweit ich mitbekommen habe, eine Monika-Route geplant, aber derjenige, der sich darum gekümmert hatte, hatte private Probleme und deswegen ist die ausgefallen. Also wenn das mal diese Information richtig stimmt. Ist natürlich ein bisschen schade, aber natürlich geht auch die Gesundheit der privaten Person, die als geht das Wohl der Person halt vor, statt jetzt die Mods natürlich. Wouldn't you rather have... das haben wir schon gelesen. I shake my head. That's not how I see things, Yuri. Surprisingly, she doesn't back down. Answer the question here, Kazuma. I stared at her, both confused and surprised. I'd rather have you. Even though I'm an ugly fig with those terrible scars all over me. Aber ich habe keine Ahnung, was die antworte. Your scars are beautiful. Oh, ich weiß nicht, was für eine Richtung das könnte gehen, aber es kann so falsch aufgenommen werden von Yuri. Und, scheiße. Und You Beautiful ist, habe ich auch, hat natürlich seinen Impact, aber wenn das andere richtig ankommt, dann kann es richtig gut sein. Weil das, was ich mir vorstellen kann, was er will aussagen, damit mit Your Scars are beautiful, ist einfach deine, Scars, also deine Narben sind wunderschön im Sinn von, dass sie zeigen, was für Kämpfe du schon durchgemacht hast und wie stark du bist, dass du nicht immer hier bist, aber so etwas in dem Genre eben. Oh Gott. Oh, ich weiß nicht, ob ich das bereuen werde. Ich probiere es einfach nur davon. Oh, bitte, schieß mich nicht. They're not horrible, Yuri. Your scars are beautiful. No. No, they aren't. They're nothing but a hideous, ugly reminder of who I am. What? Say, but do you mind if we did something else? If it's okay with you. That is because I'd rather not talk about this any longer, it feels so right. Well, it's not particularly assertive, but that's definitely possible in this period of time. Well, given how emotional it must have been to talk about this, I can hardly blame her for wanting to do something enjoyable to take her mind off things. Yeah, sure. Angesichts der Reaktion habe ich das Gefühl, dass das nicht die richtige Entscheidung war. Ah, Mann, Alter. A brief, graceful smile appears on her face. Thank you. Would you like to try cooking a new recipe? I happened to come across this exciting dish line. I haven't had the chance to try it yet. I blink. I guess it's just the surprise of from such a heavy topic, so suddenly talking about cooking. Sure thing, you might have to go buy some of the ingredients though. I see this recipe does require fresh vegetables. For instance, do you have any daikon? I wouldn't even know what to start with to cooking daikon radish. I'll take that as a no then. I think the vegetable shop has some. Either way. Hey, Yui? Yes? I know you said you don't want to talk about what we discussed, so I'm sorry to bring it up, but just to know that if I want to talk about, anything, then I'll always listen, okay? There's a quiet pause. Thank you, Kazuma. I'll do my best to remember that. Showing myself out as someone was daunting, but, well, I'm grateful that I was able to tell someone. Hey, I'm just glad you were comfortable enough to show me. It can't have been easy. I reach out and squeeze her hand as we share a smile. I hope things will be okay in a minute. Okay. Und die endet hier der Tag auch. Okay, eine etwas kürzere Folge, glaube ich, auch für heute. Aber ja, Alter. Das waren auf jeden Fall 2 relativ, ich sag mal, starke Folgen. It's Monday, God, I hate the Monday more than today. Das klingt schon viel versprechen. Aber ja, ich danke für euch fürs Zuschauen. Passt auf euch auf. Schönen Tag noch und wir uns dann beim nächsten Mal. Und ja, danke fürs Zuschauen. Tschüss.